So I've opened up Procreate and I'm going to go to the plus sign, select new canvas, and I always go for screen size. So as you can see, you've got the spanner, which is where you can insert files. You've got the adjustments, which is all about hue, saturation. You've got the select tools as well, which we'll show you a little bit later. But then you can go back to gallery just by touching gallery. So back onto here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a photo and we're going to use that to draw a stencil. Now your sidebars, you've got the size of your brushes and your pens as well as the opacity. So I've just gone on to select image and insert a photo and it will bring up your own photo gallery. We're just going to do a very simple one. So this is an example of what a client might send you. They've seen a tattoo that they like. It's not got a clear background and you're going to have to create a stencil. The important thing is you go to your layers tab and you add a new layer by pressing the plus button. So it will be on N for normal, for this to keep it simple, and you can slide to the left and rename. When you slide to the right, you'll see that you've got your duplicate buttons and also your delete buttons. I'm going up to my brush library and I'm going down to my technical inking pen. So it's in the inking section and technical pen. On it, I've gone to the stabilization button and I have made sure that's all the way up to ensure I get smooth lines. Now the round circle in the top right hand corner is your colour button, and I am just using my Apple pen just to draw around in black with my technical inking pen. I'm now going to take the size down and go around the J. So all I'm doing is tracing, that's all it is, and this gets you used to your stencil design. Now to undo, you can tap twice with 2 fingers. To redo, tap 3 times, or there is the back button just under your opacity button. So when I click on layers and I click the tick off of the first layer, you will then see that it gets rid of the original photo. Moving on, I've chosen a new canvas and uploaded some new images just to show you how to colour. So you've got your round colour button and your colour wheel, and all you need to do is place your pen on top of this and essentially drag the colour over. Now if there are any indiscrepancies in your lines and they're not actually joining up, then this can actually mean that it will colour the background. You can use what's called a clipping mask on your layers, which if you have a play around with your layers on the left hand swipe you will see, and that will keep the colour to the layer that you're intending it to be on. So here you can just see I'm just having a little play, just dragging the colours through, and it's as simple as that for the time being. Now I'm just going to show you how to move areas. So you can see I've gone to the select button at the top and I'm just drawing around my area, pressing the arrow, and that allows me to move my image and to resize it, to move it. So exactly the same with my other image. I'm just drawing around. You must make sure that you connect back to the dot and then press the arrow where you can move all your images around, even if they have been imported as these have in the same document and as one image. So just to repeat now of your stenciling, what I've done is I've got my inserted image layer, I've added another layer on top, and I'm going back to my technical pen, the stabilization button, just checking it's fully stabilized. And for this, for the purpose of this, I'm just going to use red in order that I can see my lines on top of the already black outline. Now these images are already absolutely fine just to print and go ahead with making a tattoo stencil, but just to show you once again how to go around your stencil on Procreate. The stabilization button does really help just to create a steady flow of the line. If you do have a darker image, it is worth going over in a brighter colour such as red creating a new layer on top of that and then working over with your black so that you can print it out. Because remember, when you click off the layer, you can get rid of everything underneath so that you're just left with your printing stencil. So here I'm just drawing around, just tracing. Like I mentioned, this is a really good practice before going on skin and tattooing, because you get to learn muscle memory, you get to know where it is that you're going to be going with your design. So once I've completed this particular stencil, if I'm happy with what I've done with it, then I would again highly suggest that you create a new layer before you go on and move on to another part of the stencil. So I'm going to try to complete this part. I have just adjusted the sizing of my pen, but I'm now going to create a brand new layer, and then I'm going to do the eyes and the mouth, and I'll show you why. Another little tip with your stabilization, when it comes to circles, you can see I can draw a circle. If I press down and don't lift my pen, it will create a smooth circle. It's exactly the same for squares and lines. If I draw a couple of lines, it will then straighten them off. Now you can undo that if that's not the desired look that you want, but I'm going to show you now, because I've done my eyes and the mouth on a different layer. If I'm not happy with them, I can erase them. I can use my erase button, I can go back, and it won't affect the original stencil on layer 3 that I'm happy with. So I can choose the rubber button. You can again mess and play with the size of the rubber, also the opacity. I can rub that out and it's not affected layer 3. All I then need to do is redo that and I'm set for my stencil. So you can see here on layer 4, I can scribble over this, I can make a mistake and it's still not affecting my layer 3. So I can always hide that layer, that mistake, or I can erase over it and nothing's going to affect it. So the more layers that you have, the safer your design is, especially if it's quite a complex design. You just want to make sure you take it bit by bit, create more layers, and then you know that you're safe. So have a little play. Procreate is a fantastic tool for your stencils, but as you go more in depth with it, you can of course create some really detailed designs that you can also sell as prints, but this is meant to be nice and simple, just to get you used to the app.